We are here today because it is important for our business community and elected officials to work together, and we look forward to hearing from the 7 candidates who are running to serve a term as alderman for the city of Kingsport. As a reminder, the Kingsport Chamber's policy is to remain neutral in regard to political campaigns. The Chamber does not support or endorse individual candidates and works very hard to provide equal opportunities to all candidates. The Kingsport Chamber does distribute information that will assist members in making educated voting decisions based on issues affecting business. From the discussion this evening, the Chamber will be distributing information via email over the next few days that will summarize the answers given by the candidates here tonight. As a business community, we encourage individuals to run who are fair, level-headed, and supportive of business issues. We also encourage everyone to register to vote and to vote. Also, the Chamber, boy, I need to, we can't start again, can we? Also, the Chamber plans to continue to lead efforts to promote civility in government and will continue to remind those in office and candidates for office that incivility is an unwanted distraction that causes us to take our focus off what is important and expend precious energy on what is not. With the challenges we currently have on our plate, we are looking forward to leaders who inspire confidence, leaders who build consensus and seek common ground, and leaders who will listen, as we have much to offer on important issues like economic development and education. With that being said, are you ready to get started? There are a total of 7 questions, and each question asked will have a specific time limit. The timekeeper will hold up a yellow card to signify you have 15 seconds remaining. A red card will be held up with your time when your time has expired. If you exceed the allotted time, Nicole will ring the bell. The order of responses has been determined earlier by every candidate participating drawing a number that established the order. Questions will alternate so that all candidates have an opportunity to be the first to answer a question. Each candidate will have a closing statement limited to 1 minute each. The order of closing statements has also been determined by drawing names prior to the start of the forum tonight. We will begin with question number 1. Michael Smelser will ask that you begin for us. Why are you running for office, and what do you feel you can contribute to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen? You have 1 minute to respond.
Having grown up in Kingsport for the past 36 years of my life, I have tremendous love and passion for the city and Northeast Tennessee. Through all my experiences, when it came time to look for a place to live, I chose Kingsport for myself. Then when I married 6 years ago and started a family, my wife and I were fortunate enough again to choose Kingsport to raise our kids here, and we hope to continue to enjoy Kingsport. I have a tremendous desire to build on all the great things that Kingsport has provided me and my family, and a passion to make Kingsport even better for all the citizens. The main part of my resume is all the relationships that I have built over the past 36 years. I feel my greatest asset to the BMA will be to provide a much-needed link to all ages, races, income levels, professions, and all neighborhoods. I feel that I will be the people's alderman and that all walks of life can feel comfortable.
Mr. McIntire?
I chose to move to Kingsport over 40 years ago, and I've chosen to stay here because it's a great place to live and work. My work experience at Eastman and at First Broad Street Church, as well as over 30 years of service on BMA-appointed commissions, committees, and boards, have given me a broad knowledge of our community and a good foundation for approaching issues with both a long-term view and a short-term realism. I bring to the table skills such as planning, finance, personnel management, facilities and construction management, leadership, communications, and negotiations. I have the ability and the knowledge to serve the citizens of Kingsport.
Mr. Monroe?
I love Kingsport. It's a great place to live. When you look around here and you see what you see in Kingsport, and I've been well pleased with what's happening in the last 10 to 15 years. As we develop our business here, I deal with people every day that come to the Tri-Cities. They're either here to buy, to sell, or invest. And when they're in the car with me, they could be nobody no prouder than me telling them about what a great place Kingsport is. I've worked with the Chamber of Commerce. I have worked with the Tri-City Airport. I have worked with the city government in Kingsport, Johnson City, and Bristol. I deal with the public every day. I hear what they have to say. I hear what they want. And I hear ideas they suggest that they have seen work in other towns. I am proud to live in Kingsport. And I promise you I will do my best as a Kingsport person to represent you on the BMA. Thank you.
Mr. Locke.
I have a great interest in serving the citizens of Kingsport and seeing the city continue to grow and prosper. I believe my past experience as a small business owner and operator provides me with the skills and the knowledge to be a successful contributor to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe.
I certainly have enjoyed the past 4 years of serving on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. I want to run for re-election in order to continue to support the momentum that is taking place in our city. We have accomplished a lot of great things over the past 4 to 8 years due to the leadership of Mayor Blazer and then Mayor Phillips and the boards that have been before them. It's important to continue that momentum, and I do bring 4 years of having served on the BMA to the table and hope that you'll employ me for 4 more.
Thank you. Mr. Hillman.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you for inviting me. And having grown up as in a small town in Southwest Virginia many years ago, we learned there was virtually no money, so we learned to rely on neighbors helping neighbors. And I look around Kingsport, and it's a strong desire that instilled in me to promote community, people helping people. And I have 38 years experience working at Domtar, paper mill across the street, and I bring a lot of enthusiasm. We have to promote Kingsport constantly. It's a great place to live. It's got a lot of potential that's yet to be tapped. And I have a strong desire, along with the other candidates, to promote Kingsport. Thank you very much.
Mr. Segelhorst.
Good evening, and thanks for attending. I truly enjoy being involved in community activities. I have lived in Kingsport nearly 18 years and have been involved in the community service for the last 16 of those years. Being an alderman and representing the citizens of Kingsport is the ultimate service that I can give back to this community. By having served on a number of boards, committees, and advisory councils that I have, which includes a number of leadership roles, I know that I have very well-rounded knowledge of the points in Kingsport that make it the model city. I have worked downtown at one of the major industries since I moved to Kingsport, which also gives me an appreciation and an understanding of the downtown issues and an insight that will allow me to hit the ground running, and when it comes to making decisions that will allow Kingsport to continue to progress.
Thank you. You each were much more eloquent than I was in the opening comments, so thank you. We will move to question number 2, and you will have 1 minute to respond to this question. And this time we will begin with Mr. McIntire. What is your general philosophy about cities incurring debt? Do you feel the debt Kingsport has taken on for current projects are reasonable and worthwhile?
Debt is a tool that most of us have used to acquire a home or other major purchases. Debt in and of itself is not bad, but it must be used wisely. While our bond rating is acceptable and our indebtedness ratio is under charter limits, I remain somewhat concerned about the overall dollar level of our city's debt in these uncertain economic times. I think we need to refrain from starting any major new debt-funded projects until we start getting some roll-off of our current debt. We are also going to need funds to support the growth of Kingsport through economic development and annexation. Spending on these and on maintenance of our infrastructure should be our priorities in the short term, while we are paying down a portion of the existing debt.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe?
One of the things I feel about Kingsport is it has grown here lately. In order to have success and have growth, you have to invest in what you believe in. In order to invest, a lot of times you have to go in debt for it. When you're investing in something, you got to think about how you're going to pay this debt back. Then you got to think about how it's going to help other people. And then the next thing is you got to have the community that's going to stand behind you and believe that you have the way of doing this and the way of paying it back. Anytime you go to spend money, you've got to return with interest. I am concerned about the debt, but I'm also concerned about the growth. You can't do one without the other. So what we got to do is watch how we invest into the city of Kingsport, figure out how we're going to pay the debt back, and research our market and make sure we have a good plan on paying the debt back.
Mr. Locke?
I am like almost every other person I know when it comes to question dealing with debt. I come from a modest background. In order to begin my adult life, I borrowed money to start my business, buy a car, and buy my first home. The question for me is not whether one should incur debt, but how rather one should manage the debt. The city of Kingsport has increased its debt load during the past several years to fund various capital projects, such as Meadowview, 2 new fire stations, Linview Community Center, Aquatic Center, downtown parking garage, farmers market, and others. Each of these projects has direct impact in a positive way, quality of life in the city and the region. And my opinion is that the current funding projects are reasonable and worthwhile.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe?
To place in perspective the utilization of debt as a tool in respect to the city of Kingsport, you've got to understand that the city charter has a cap, a safety net, so to speak, of 10% that it imposed, and then the charter through the city's founders and the state has a 20% cap. So, and to place this in perspective, the city of Kingsport is at around 6.5% of 20% of assessed value. Now, having said that, that's expected to decrease over the next few years down to around probably 5.4% of that 20%. But you've got to consider the projects like the fire station they're past due projects, some the fire station at Crown Colony and so forth. Thank you.
Mr. Hillman?
Well, I concur along with, we're all concerned about the debt here in Kingsport. I've always been told my whole life, if you want to have anything, you pretty much got to go in debt for it. But you do have to manage the debt. And you have to be situated, whether it's an individual or it's a city. All we have to do is look at the federal government to know what debt does, overextending and careless spending. But on the other hand, we have to be able to we have to manage our debt load so we can take advantage of good opportunities when they arise. And so I'm along with the others, I'm a tad concerned with the debt. But I think we've taken on some good projects, and, I think we'll be okay.
Mr. Segelhorst?
Thank you. It's a two-part question. The first portion is about my general philosophy. I'll answer that first. I believe that cities must make good, reasonable decisions when it comes to taking on debt. Cost benefit, payback, and economic development options must be considered before taking on debt. I believe that reasonable debt is not harmful. The second part of the question is current projects reasonable and worthwhile. Emphasis should always be placed on paying down debt. With that said, capital projects should be analyzed carefully before they are undertaken and should be justified based on need, payback potential, and the availability of low-interest loans. The city recently has been fortunate enough to take advantage of some extremely low-interest rate loans in order to add some quality-of-life projects to the city. There needs to be a balance of quality of life, education, and city quality services that are within reason for the city to progress. By following these principles and strategically investing in the city, it can benefit all residents of the city by using quality facilities.
Thank you each. Well, question number 3.
You forgot Michael.
Oh, gosh. Michael, I'm so sorry.
You're-
I didn't forget you. I was just,
You're fine,
saving
you're
you
fine.
for last. It's all yours.
I am currently comfortable with the city's current debt, and I am comfortable with the current projects that are going on to enhance the quality of life of all the citizens of Kingsport, and in hopes of attracting new citizens and visitors to the city. I am a real estate investor myself on a much smaller scale with a set teacher salary. There is no way that I could have enhanced my quality of life and my family's without going into debt. At the same time, I always do my homework first before I sign on the line, and I still know that it takes 100 pennies to make a dollar.
Right, thank you. Again, I apologize for not swinging around there, but question number 3, and we'll begin with Mr. Monroe. What are your top 2 priorities during your 4-year term? You have 1 minute to respond.
Being a small business owner in Kingsport, me and my wife started out in 2000 with a horse-drawn carriage. Articles wrote about her. It was literally a one-horse operation. Today, we're at 26 vehicles with no financing. Hard time trying to find financing and stuff. And it was a business that everybody felt like Kingsport didn't have. They couldn't see where we could make this happen. After personally getting involved, we learned it was something Kingsport does need. I feel like we brought a lot to it. One of the problems being in the business I'm in, I deal with the public every day. I hear about how Kingsport has nothing for anybody. That's the problem when your kids, you got to go somewhere else. One of them done left town. I want to work on revitalizing downtown Kingsport. We need to entertain our youth here.
Thank you. Mr. Locke.
If elected as a member of the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen, my top 2 priorities will be, number 1, support an atmosphere which promotes business expansion and job creation while maintaining an environment where the citizens can successfully support their families while enjoying a high quality of life. And number 2, support of education at all levels, preschool through higher education.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe.
The first thing that I hope to have the privilege to do in the next 4 years serving on this board of mayor and aldermen is to continue to support our mayor, who, in my opinion, has done an outstanding job in leading this city forward. I think the momentum that he has created and the majority of the board has created is very positive. People are saying in most circles that you speak of, we're proud of our town. We're proud of the direction Kingsport's going in. It's been a long time coming, but we're here. We're seeing the fruits of our labors. And so that is something that I certainly want to continue to support. Also, I've strongly supported the higher education initiative, and I want to continue to support that endeavor and see it flourish and continue to provide education where you can learn and then earn here in Kingsport. Thank you.
Mr. Hillman.
Well, obviously there are a lot of priorities, and I, along with the consensus, job creation would probably be number 1 in my book. And as a business community and as a board, we have to create a climate where business can flourish. Small people can start business. I'm a small business owner myself. And we have to create a climate where those businesses can flourish and grow. And My next priority would be infrastructure, I think. And by infrastructure, I include our schools, our education system, police and fire departments, roads, and these type of things. And we have to nurture these and constantly be looking for new ways to do things, to make things better. If we do things the way we did years ago, it may not work today.
Thank you. Mr. Segelhorst.
Thank you. Continue the current progress and keep city government both citizen and business friendly. However, there are many facets to both of these priorities. In order to keep Kingsport progressing, it is imperative that we continue to emphasize affordable education, economic development, superior city services, and quality of life initiatives. By focusing on these programs, we can attract people and businesses to the city, which will ultimately provide economic development and a good tax base. During a relocation process or a location process, these are things that both potential new citizens and potential new businesses search for, and we need to ensure that we have products that will attract. Keeping the city friendly to both citizens and businesses is a critical factor in allowing the city to continue to progress. Convenience and efficiencies are the backbone of a strong economic development program.
Thank you. Mr. Smelser.
My two top priorities are wellness and to work to re-energize and revitalize all of the neighborhoods. Wellness is the centerpiece of the entire puzzle. We must do everything that we can personally and as a community to attract new families, jobs, business, industry, corporations, retail, and people to Kingsport to compete not just locally, but also nationally and globally. Secondly, wellness ties in directly with the revitalization of all neighborhoods, especially the centralized ones, to make them more attractive to first-time home buyers, to help lower-income families become homeowners, and seniors downsizing. Also making the city more walkable and bikeable to attract all parties wanting to live, work, and play in Kingsport.
Thank you. Mr. McIntire.
One priority is to focus on economic development and growth so that jobs are created, our economy has fully recovered, and our unemployment rate is lowered to a much more desirable level. My other priority is to focus on finances to assure that our debt is in control and sufficient funds are available for the necessary expenses related to economic development, annexation, and infrastructure maintenance.
Thank you. Question number 4, you'll have 1 minute to respond. We'll begin with Mr. Locke. What are your views on annexation and the methods of annexation? Mr. Locke.
Annexation is a major way to increase the geographic size and the population base of the city. In increasing the size and the population base for the city results in several benefits for our citizens. One which will be an overall tax rate in the future years. I support the plans for the city of Kingsport to annex 80 to 90% of the urban growth boundaries over the next 10 years.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe.
Currently, we are enjoying, I think, one of the lowest tax rates in Kingsport's history, the third lowest tax rate in Kingsport's history. Annexation is one of the tools that help make that happen for the citizens of Kingsport. It's a way the city grows. In the mid-90s, the Sullivan County Commission and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen at that time agreed upon the urban growth boundary that the state legislature had enacted into law. Now, my take on moving forward, and the planning staff and planning commission is doing a much better job at this, is in the way we go about our growth. Communication with our neighbors, town hall meetings, making sure they know what's going to be in place for them through the annexation process is where we can grow and enhance our abilities to grow. Thank you.
Mr. Hillman.
Well, annexation has one thing in common that I've seen from the outside looking in over the past few years. It seems to go hand in hand with controversy, for one thing, from a number of people that I've talked to. I'm not against annexation, but it's a tool I think we need to use. We need to consider people's viewpoints. Most people that live out in the county do so for a reason. Not everybody wants to live inside the city. And I enjoy the city, but not everybody wants to be in the city. But having said that, we need to consider people's viewpoints and their input anytime we go into an annexing area. Don't annex just because we can.
Thank you. Mr. Segelhorst.
Thank you. Annexation is necessary for the long-term growth of Kingsport. However, it must be done in a well-planned and well-communicated process that considers the city's abilities to provide timely services at reasonable cost to the citizens of the area being annexed. Urban growth boundaries were established and agreed upon by city and county executives over 10 years ago in order to allow cities and counties to work together on future, which is now current, annexations. I would reemphasize that any annexation should be affordable and in the best interests of the city. First consideration should be given to citizens in urban growth boundaries that request annexation. Second consideration should be given to areas that can be annexed that are logical and can receive city services in a cost-effective manner.
Thank you. Mr. Smelser.
Cities must grow to survive, and I am for annexation. I feel that we need to work to develop a comprehensive plan for annexation that benefits the current and future residents. I feel that anyone that is receiving city water and sewer should be in the city, and that we should provide our services to them. I feel that we need to listen to all parties involved on what is best for them and what is best for the city. As a former city worker working for 3 summers in the grounds maintenance department, regardless of how far we go, I feel we must never lose sight of the city worker and their needs and being able to provide equal services, safety, and protection to all the citizens.
Thank you. Mr. McIntire.
A community must grow to maintain long-term viability and to be competitive with other communities. Annexation is a significant tool for enabling growth. Growth through annexation must be planned and managed in a way that ensures that both costs and the needs of all of the community are considered in determining where and when annexation is undertaken. The Smart Growth Law that was enacted by the Tennessee legislature in the late 90s led to the establishment of the urban growth boundary for Kingsport. This law allows Kingsport to annex within its urban growth boundary by ordinance if all city services can be provided within a reasonable period. Kingsport needs to continue to utilize this law and to grow through annexation.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe.
I'm one of the people that got annexed. I was proud to be annexed into the city. In fact, I had asked for it for 3 years. And so when they come and told me they were going to consider and annex me, I thought this was really a good thing. Now I have fire protection. I have police protection. I'm gone all hours of the night. I'm gone on the weekends. So now I feel my family is safe and secure. The city function is like a business. You invest into it. So by paying tax dollars, I invest into the city of Kingsport, and I get my return. I'm for annexation. I want to do a survey. I want people that want in should have the opportunity to get in. We need to ask them. We need to do a survey, and then we need to make sure we're financially able to structure and to be able to bring them into the city and offer them what they should have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're on question number 5. You'll have 1 minute to respond to this question as well. We will begin with Mr. Shupe. What are your views on economic development incentives to expand existing businesses and to attract new ones?
All right. Simply put, I am a pro-business candidate for re-election. History depicts over the past 20 years, Kingsport had no materials agreements to offer. Since since materials agreements were in place, there has been significant housing developments take place. If you recall, the East Stone Commons, the old Kingsport Mall, the stagnant area there with no growth and so forth, with tax increment financing and assistance incentives set in place, the city became competitive. They became attractive to developers. You see now that East Stone Commons is a very vital, important part, which produces jobs, retail attractions, restaurants. The Pavilion's another example. Quebecor's another example. I am certainly a pro-business and advocate for incentives for business.
Mr. Hillman.
Well, generally speaking, economic incentives are, it's a good way to create business and promote business, new business. However, there are some drawbacks that I have seen take place over the last few years. I'm not in favor of expanding new business at the expense of old business and creating a lot of empty buildings sitting around. But it is a good tool, and I think that Kingsport has benefited from it, and hopefully in the future will continue to benefit from it.
Thank you. Mr. Segelhorst.
These are critical portions of economic development that are typically used by any city, county, or state that is looking to attract and retain businesses. We have to remain competitive by using these methods along with our other strong assets, such as our highly educated and motivated workforce, our safe and progressive community, our superior education system, our world-class medical facilities, our developed infrastructures, our business and citizen-friendly government. We need to continually emphasize these assets when selling Kingsport to potential families, businesses, and industries. Another component for our community that makes us unique is the high concentration of engineers and scientists, along with residents that have international marketing experience. These components must also be utilized as well as emphasized when we recruit businesses to our area. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smelser.
As the local, national, and global market becomes even more competitive for business, I am for these kinds of carrots to attract new business, to provide jobs, and better the quality of life of the current and future citizens. However, I feel we need to proceed with caution and always keep in mind all the current businesses, retail, restaurants, and mom and pop stores that make Kingsport so unique and so special to all of us, and patronize them as much as we can, because we definitely do not want to lose them.
Mr. McIntire.
There are a variety of incentive tools available to facilitate economic development, and it is often necessary to use such tools to attract new business development, to rejuvenate an area, or to support existing businesses. We are continually in competition with other communities. Kingsport needs to use these tools judiciously to remain competitive, yet we must also remain fair to our existing businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Monroe.
Being a small business owner, I pay a lot of taxes, so I'm against any kind of tax increase. But in order to have business, you need to do something to draw their attention to get them to come here. And I had to pay unemployment tax, I had to pay property tax, I had to pay road use tax. I got taxes you won't believe about. But in order to get small business to come in here, they need some kind of tax relief to get started. So the best way, we got to invest in small business to bring small business to Kingsport. And I feel like in order for Kingsport to grow, we got to work with small business. So if we have to work with tax incentives, or we have to work with grant, or we have to work with program, I'm all for it. Because I know when I was trying, I couldn't get them. So I want to do anything I can to help somebody take their dream and succeed with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Locke.
After studying each project for which a financial incentive program or grant may be available and useful, I will support all forms of economic development incentives which are in the best interest of and benefits to the citizens and to the city of Kingsport. expanding both small and large businesses, attracting new companies to our region, and providing and maintaining a quality workforce are absolutely necessary components for ensuring high quality of life for our citizens.
Thank you. Question number 6 is our longest question, which means you have 2 minutes to respond to this one. So bear with me as I ask this, which has several parts. We are seeing positive movements in relationships among the leaderships of Sullivan County and Kingsport City. The city and county governments, along with the leadership of the schools, are recognizing their decisions should be based on the future of our community and providing a future workforce for our businesses. How will your leadership contribute and continue to move forward with these positive relationships? Understanding there is limited funding, how will you encourage these organizations to effectively utilize the facilities and funding we have available? Will we begin with Mr. Hillman? You have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, first of all one has to do is look at Washington, D.C., for example. Probably in my lifetime, I've never seen this country so divided, and I think most people will agree with that. And it's not only there, but it transcends right down to the local level. We've got to all remember that we're all Americans. We all live and work together, and if this is true, we need to reach out to our friends in the county government, our local governments. Not only that, with our sister cities, because strength is in numbers, and the more we work together, instead of, it seems like in the past few years it's become a turf war in this area. Johnson City wants to protect what they have. Bristol wants to protect what they have. Kingsport wants to protect what they have. But we all need to be working together. If we working together, we can accomplish so much more. And I think with my leadership, my ability to bring people together for a common cause, we all want our children to have the best opportunities. When we have graduates go through the higher education center, we want them to have jobs. We want them to stay in Kingsport. Otherwise, we've lost something. And so if I'm elected, I will reach out to our friends in the county government, form coalitions wherever we can, and let's all work together. That's the whole key. And I think if we do that, we'll have a much better area.
Thank you. Mr. Segelhorst.
Thank you. A two-part question. First part is how will your leadership contribute and continue to move forward these positive relationships? I will be a strong advocate for open and positive communications between Kingsport and Sullivan County leadership. I am acquainted with the county mayor and several of the county commissioners and will also encourage them to be active in the communications process. Second part of the question is how will we effectively utilize the facilities and funding we have available. It is important that we continue to work closely with Sullivan County and study the possibility of sharing resources and our services when possible. Where duplicative services exist, the possibility of combining these services should be explored. Saving taxpayer dollars and utilizing efficiencies should be the primary considerations.
Thank you. Mr. Smelser.
First of all, as city and county residents, we should want what is best for both of us to make us more attractive to outsiders to come here. I will work with all parties involved to continue this cooperation between both parties, and I will also listen to everyone involved. I would like to see more dual purchases if any big ticket items arise, and continue dual efforts to bring in more jobs to the area. From a teaching standpoint, I would like to see more dual professional development opportunities for the teachers and middle management to share knowledge and experiences. Finally, as a teacher, whatever we do, we must do so in the best interest of the students and everyone involved, because livelihoods are going to be touched either way.
Thank you. Mr. McIntire.
I strongly believe we must work together to realize our potential for the future. We cannot waste our time or resources competing against one another. We must seek the greater good for the larger community. I will work to see that long-term plans for annexation are developed that include detailed cost estimates for providing city services for each annexation segment. I will also work for the formation of a team of key stakeholders that can use these long-term annexation plans to develop options and checkpoints for the county schools that are within the Kingsport urban growth boundary. This should enable the city and county governments and the boards of education to come together on timing and costs that will provide the best solutions for the education of our children.
Mr. Monroe.
Working with our business in the last several years and stuff, I got to work with a lot of local government, the city and the county. I've been involved with the Chamber of Commerce and stuff, and I've been involved out at the Tri-City Airport. As I attend more meetings, and one of the things I was encouraged to do was go through the leadership class of the Chamber of Commerce. This opened my eyes to a lot of things. It takes people that care and loves where they live at and what they want to do. By working with leadership and working on plans and budgets and putting things together, sometimes two heads are better than one. So with the leadership, by being a follower, or you be a doer. And I want to be one of the doers. I want to lead people down the way I think is best. But the only way I can do that is by you people telling me what you think you want. I don't have a problem being a leader. I don't have a problem sticking my neck out. If you believe in it, then do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Locke.
I am very pleased with how our representatives of the city and county governments are working more closely together in a number of ways. For example, such as joint funding for Educate and Growth Scholarship Program and Networks Economic Development Partnership provides evidence of mutual benefits of these positive relationships. With regards to education, the city and county are fortunate to each have an outstanding director of schools and a strong leadership on their respective boards of education. It is noteworthy that under their leadership, the city and county boards have been meeting to discuss how to work together can increase the success of both systems. It is vital that all segments, both public and private, work more closely together in the future, particularly during times of economic stress. As an alderman, I would encourage the building of partnerships within the public and private sectors and would consider finance incentives for all agents which work more closely together for common goods of the citizens residing in the city of Kingsport and Sullivan County.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe.
The campaign slogan or phrase or whatever you would call it for my campaign that I have been using is working together is better. And the mayor has said it best when he's quoted by saying, it's amazing what you can accomplish when people don't care who gets the credit, and he's proven that with his leadership. The board of mayor and aldermen and the county has worked well together over the past 4 years that I've been involved with the board. Two examples that I'll bring to mind is the Lynn Garden Community Center, which the county and city worked well on. Secondly would be the animal shelter, the concern with the two animal shelters. We worked together to enhance the services for the region and also take away the burden on either the city or the county financially. Another important endeavor that I recall is with networks in the county and the city, and in recruiting a company to bring nearly 400 or 500 jobs to Northeast Tennessee from Germany, I believe is where the company was. So much positive enthusiasm was there with the county, the city, and networks. We want to make this happen. We need these jobs here. We want to make this happen. I think it's important that we harness that positive momentum with the leadership of school boards, be it city or county, be it county commission, be it the board of mayor and aldermen, because there are a host of small businesses, young professionals, and a numerous amount of wealth out there in the future with children that are going to go through our education system right here at home before ever going across the large pond. So we need to make sure we
Thank you,
do
Mr.
what's
Shupe.
best in their interest. Thank you.
We are at our final question, and this is a yes or no answer. You actually have 10 seconds to say yes or no, so you can hold us in suspense and wait a few seconds before you tell us your answer, or you can go ahead and knock it yes or no. So we'll begin with Mr. Segelhorst. Do you favor collective bargaining for public employees, yes or no?
Collective bargaining,
Collective bargaining for city employees outside teachers is a violation of City Ordinance 2-94. I cannot be in favor for something that's against the law.
Mr. Smelser?
No, I do not at this time. With Tennessee being a right-to-work state, it is another thing that makes us more attractive to outside businesses.
Mr. McIntire?
No.
Mr. Monroe?
Yes.
Mr. Locke?
indefinitely, no.
Mr. Shupe?
No, but I do believe a healthy form of communication is important.
Mr. Hillman?
Yes.
Thank you each. Before we move into our closing statements, I do want to recognize our legislative affairs sponsors. They are listed here behind me on the sign. They include AT&T, Holston Valley Medical Center, Indian Path, Domtar, AEP, Pfizer, Charter, and Eastman. We will now move into closing statements. As we mentioned at the beginning of this forum, names were drawn to determine the order of the closing statements. Each of the individual candidates know where they fall in that, and we will begin with Tom Segelhorst. You have 1 minute for your closing statement.
Thank you. I'm an excellent listener and a common sense thinker who will make informed and wise decisions that will benefit both Kingsport and our citizens. Listening to citizens is necessary for me to be able to effectively make good, informed decisions that are in the best interest of Kingsport. I must listen to what people are saying, understand the issues, digest the facts to make the correct decision. I will listen to and represent the citizens of all areas of Kingsport, including the communities of Rock Springs, Colonial Heights, Bloomingdale, Lynn Garden, and Sullivan Gardens. I will support public safety, the education system, the infrastructure, and quality of life components of our city, along with continuing growth. I would respectfully ask for your support on May 17th, and thank you again for allowing me to participate in this forum and for allowing me to run for City Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Segelhorst. We will now go to Mr. Hillman.
I want to talk just a bit about potential. I've lived here in Kingsport for a number of years now, and you go into different towns and you always look for what they have to offer. And in Kingsport area, we have unsurpassed natural beauty. We've got a park, a Bays Mountain Park, that the potential for a national attraction is definitely there. I support that 100%. And we've got a interstate highway running north and south that there's, I think the last count was 20-some thousand vehicles a day. So we got to look at what can we do. We can't rest on our laurels. What can we do to get those people into Kingsport? And we can't be second best. If we're going to make Kingsport a destination city, we've got to really work hard. Thank you.
Mr. Hillman. We will now go to Mr. Monroe.
Being a small business owner and living in Kingsport, and I'm proud of it. It's a great place to live. My interest in go to collective bargaining was yes. And what I want to say is I want to protect the workforce of Kingsport. No matter what we do to make Kingsport great, we got to have our groundkeepers and our city employees and stuff to make Kingsport great. I've yet to stop to talk to one of them that had a negative attitude about Kingsport except for one thing. Don't take away our retirement. Don't take away what we've worked for 30 years when we've been promised for years. So we need to have bargaining with options. Give the employees different options which way they want to go. We need to go forward with Kingsport. We need to keep growing it. I feel like I'm a good opportunity because I'm talk to people every day. I deal with the public every day. I don't sit behind a desk. I don't sit in the building. I sit in the car with the people. I hear what they have to say for that 15 minutes. Vote for me in May, and I'll do everything I can to make Kingsport a great place.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. Mr. Smelser.
I want to thank the Kingsport Chamber of Commerce and the City of Kingsport for inviting me to this forum. I want to close by personally challenging all the citizens of Kingsport to make the commitment and join in the movement for the model city to make us more attractive to compete locally, nationally, and globally for the future, for today and for the future. Every citizen has a gift that they can offer Kingsport. To quote Steve Prefontaine, a famous runner, to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. Vote Michael Smelser for Alderman.
Thank you. Mr. Shupe.
Well, it's my hometown, and I certainly care about it enough to contribute to it. And I want to thank each of you for the opportunity of allowing me to serve as your alderman for the past 4 years, and I hope I'll have the privilege to do that the next 4. And I support our mayor. I think that's very important, and the majority of the board. Also the city staff. I think we have a city manager and staff that are second to none that we ought to be thankful for. They've certainly contributed a lot to the growth of Kingsport over the past 4 years. And so I hope I'll have the honor of your vote on May 17th.
Thank you. Mr. Locke.
In closing, I would like to say thank you to the Chamber for giving me the chance to voice my views on these issues, and to thank each of you for attending this event. I was reared in Kingsport, attended Kingsport City Schools and Walter State Community College. I have lived and worked here my entire life. I also served 8 years as a member of the Tennessee National Guard and the U.S. Army Reserves. From my experience as a local business operator and owner, I know the meaning of hard work, what it takes to run a successful business, to balance a budget, to maintain payroll, and to serve the customer with excellence. If elected as a member of the BMA, I pledge to use this knowledge and positive attitude to help Kingsport grow and prosper. I am Mike Locke, and I am asking for and will appreciate your vote becoming a Kingsport Alderman.
Thank you. And Mr. McIntire.
First, let me thank Nicole and CG and Miles for setting this up. I really appreciate this opportunity to be here, and thank you all for coming. I think that you've heard that what I believe we need to work on at this point in time in this city, which has progressed so much in the last several years, is that we really need to continue to focus on economic development and growth. We need to focus on education, and we need to focus on financially responsible management. I'm going to work hard to do those things for you, and I would certainly appreciate your vote, either at the early voting, which starts on April the 27th at Bluntville, May 5th at the Civic Auditorium, and May 17th is the final one. And I think we all appreciate and thank you for being here.
Thank you. We very much appreciate each of you all participating tonight and for your willingness to serve our community. It's not an easy task. Campaigning is not an easy task, and we certainly appreciate the time and the commitment you have to the greater Kingsport area and to our city. Thank you also for your survey responses. They will be distributed beginning Thursday of this week to our chamber membership. We've got a very strong chamber. We hope that all of the community finds a way to participate in the many activities of the chamber, and the business community thanks you very much for being here tonight and vocalizing your opinions on important business issues. So have a good night, and we wish you each the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.